Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode from Your Own Pathway Leadership and Mental Well-Being in the Workplace. For those who don't know, my name is Paia. I am a trained psychotherapist turned empowerment life coach and organizational leadership consultant, where I bring my skills, knowledge, and expertise to empower all of you to forge your own path and to own it. So, June, if and for those who are not aware, is actually Men's Health Month. And this week's episode from Leadership and Mental Well-Being, I wanted to combine Men's Health Month with mental well-being in the workplace together. And so this episode is inspired from my experience as a employee assistance program therapist, so an EAP therapist. And so I just want to clarify that a lot of my clients were women, and I would say in doing my EAP work, I had quite a few men clients too. About probably 20%. So more women, and I did have a lot of men. I had especially men who were in higher levels within the company, and I also had a lot of men who were BIPOC. So for those who don't know what BIPOC means, it means Black, Indigenous, person of color. So I had a lot of diversity in the clients that I worked with, especially in EAP. One of the things I noticed, and I also brought attention to my clients who were men, was that I noticed that a lot of them, especially if they were in higher up positions, they often use work as I don't want to say an excuse, but they use work as a distraction to not deal with what's ever going on at home, whatever unresolved issues that they had. It could be like grief, loss, a passing of like a parent, a loved one, whatever it is. And instead of working out through their emotions, their grief, their loss, what I noticed was they used work as a distraction, and they use work as a way to keep busy so that they wouldn't have to have time to think about whatever it was that was bothering them. So for some of my clients, they actually came to therapy because other people in their lives were noticing that there was something not right with them. Oftentimes, it may have been their boss, it may have been their spouses, or someone who um, was close to them and started noticing that, hey, even though you are busy and you are using work as a way to distract you, we are noticing certain things about you that you may not notice or that you don't want to encounter. So, for example, even if they're working, they're busy, their boss may notice that their quality of work is not the same as it was. They may notice the withdrawal. They may notice that they're not, they're not up to par as where they used to be, like professionally. For those whose spouses wanted them to come to therapy, it was also like the withdrawal, but it was also like the irritability. They noticed like the irritability with the client, and oftentimes it would be a strong suggestion from the spouse saying, hey, you should probably go talk to someone about this because you are bringing this at home and I need you to be on top of it because I can't do all this myself and I need you to be with me and a partner in this. And you got to figure this out. And so initially they use work and excuse, but even that external validation or that mask falls. And so today's episode is going to focus on men's mental health and well being and using work as a distraction to not deal with their emotional challenges, issues, or their mental health. And again, this is from my professional experience. if you are a man watching this and you want to comment, or you have your own story to tell, or if I say anything that does not align with you, definitely please put it in the comment section. Again, this is just my experience, and what I experience professionally and the clients I work with does not fit with everybody's narrative. So I want to say that right here, right now. And so let's get more into this. Let's get more about this topic. And do men use work as an excuse to avoid dealing with their emotions? Men, if you are watching this is a question. And if you are inclined to answer, please give your answer and your explanation. And so today's video, we are definitely going to explore more about this common phenomenon where we see that men prioritize their professional lives oftentimes over their emotional well-being, and whether this is a convenient justification or is it a sidestep to dealing with their emotions and vulnerability. This may include avoiding intimate conversations and suppressing their feelings or sadness or fear. Um, so we're going to dwell more into the reasons behind this behavior and its impact on personal relationships and mental health. And so let's dive into this. So many often find themselves caught up in a cycle of business, and where work becomes an all-consuming force in their lives. This isn't just about putting in long hours, it's about using work as a way to avoid dealing with emotions. But why? Why does it seem that work seems to be the default escape for so many men who are not ready, or maybe not, willing to discuss their emotions or vulnerability, and often say, I'm too busy, I'm going to work, I'm going to focus on work. And that's very acceptable at the point or at the time when, like, I got to go work. It's like, okay, fine, go work then. So many men I notice in my professional career use work as a distraction to avoid discussing about their mental health and their mental well-being, because again, society and society has conditioned men to believe that productivity equals their worth and vulnerability equals weakness. So this is not a personal flaw to the men. I feel, again, society has really conditioned men to feel this way. And again, it's really ingrained in our society. And the only way to flip the script or to rebuild the foundations for this is to talk about it and to say it's okay. Something needs to be done about it. It's okay to have space for them to talk about their emotions, their well-being, whatever it is that is bothering them, that it's not fulfilling them. And so today's episode is going to talk about that too. But first of all, we're going to break down on why work and being busy is often the go-to distraction or justification for men to not deal with their emotions. And so number one is that work feels safe and emotions don't. So, work offers structure, validation, and clear outcomes. That's when a lot of men, I think, feel the most strong, and where they feel the most confident. And so they focus a lot on work. Mental health, on the other hand, is often messy, it's uncomfortable, and it's very private and vulnerable. And so many men were taught how to perform and not to process. And so work feels safe, emotions don't. So that's number one. Number two is that they weren't given emotional language. A lot of boys were raised with a silent message like, man up, or stop crying, don't be soft. How many of you have heard of this? I have heard that too. And We condition boys from a young age that showing emotions is weakness. And so when they grow up with that mentality, they're not going to show emotion because that's weak, that's vulnerability. And we need to teach our young boys that it is okay to show emotion. It's okay to feel sad. You can show emotion and not just be angry, that other emotions are acceptable besides anger. And as a result of this, they become men who don't know how to name or navigate their internal world. So if you don't know how to express pain, you learn how to suppress it. And oftentimes it's through overworking. So number two was they weren't given emotional language. Moving on to number three is that we put so much of achievement becoming identity. So I think a lot of men were conditioned that your achievement becomes their identity. And so society really praises men for what they do, not who they are. And I think that one feels very deeply for anybody who feels this. Let me know in the comments how that made you feel. And so in turn, men, they pour everything into their performance, their promotions, and productivity, even if it's draining to them. I know that, just personally for me, I stopped reading leadership books written by men because of everything of this, of everything I just said. Like everything is about performance, everything is about promotion, everything's about productivity, nothing is about rest, nothing is about wellness. And so they keep giving, 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 and work becomes the mask that they wear to avoid what's underneath. And it's a mask. It's a mask to hide the wounds. It's a mask to hide the unhealed traumas. It's a mask to hide whatever it is that they're trying to hide. And the more they work, they're hoping that work, productivity, their status, their role in society, their role in work will hide whatever it is that they are trying to run from. I know that one's deep. So achievement becomes identity for a lot of men. So that's number three. Number four is that stillness feels very threatening. Slowing down means feeling, and feeling brings up what they're avoiding. This could be grief, this could be shame, this could be loneliness, this could be anxiety, this could be childhood trauma, this could be relationships, this could be whatever it is that they're going through. I remember before becoming a therapist, whenever I noticed that people could never sit down, they're always busy, busy, busy. And I said, you're always so busy. Like, don't you just want to chill and relax? And sometimes somebody's like, no, I just need to be busy. That's who I am. I'm a very busy person. And they would say it in a very fast tone too. And it's like, okay, why do you need to be busy all the time? They respond, I just want to be busy because if I don't stay busy, then I start thinking. It's like, okay. Back then, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. That's great. Now that I'm a therapist, I'm like, what are you trying to hide from? What are you trying to run from? What are you distracting yourself from? And even in my conversations with like other men, not professionally, but in my day-to-day life, and I would have conversations with them and they'd be like, yeah, I didn't stay busy. I'm like, oh, like, don't you just want to relax sometimes? Like, don't you just want to slow down? And they respond, no, I don't want to slow down. I like to keep myself busy. I'm like, okay, like, just out of curiosity, why do you feel the need to always be busy? And they would say the same thing. I like to keep myself distracted because if I don't, then I start thinking about things. I'm like, okay, all right, then you are distracting yourself from not dealing with your emotions or whatever it is that is internally bothering you or making you feel misaligned. you're trying to avoid that. And sometimes I say it and sometimes I don't. They're like, yeah, I guess you're right. But work becomes a buffer, a buffer zone that keeps them from sitting in stillness. And if you never stop moving, you never have to sit with the truth. That's right. If you never stop moving, you never have to sit with the truth. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't like to sit with the truth because the truth isn't always happy. The truth is very daunting, and most people don't want to deal with the truth. And so, a lot of men have been conditioned that stillness feels threatening, and slowing down means feeling, and they want to avoid their feelings. So that's number 4. Number 5 is that there's a fear of judgment. I'm not surprised by this. You know, therapy, rest, asking for help, coaching. Many men feel and fear that this will be seen as a weakness by peers, family, or even themselves. It's it's very shaming. A lot of men still feel shamed for seeking out help, and I think the mentality is that men have to have it all figured out. That, oh, it's, I want to be the silent, quiet type, even though you're struggling inside. Or that I had a young man explain to me that often men, because they're their sole provider, they feel that they have to have it all together. And if they don't have it, it's a weakness as a provider. And I know as a therapist, I just want to say that you are stronger as a provider when you acknowledge that you need help. So instead of saying, I'm not okay, they say, I'm really busy. So that's why they have to distract themselves is it's hard for them to say, I'm not okay. They say, I'm really busy. I admit I have used that too. I have used the excuse, well, I'm really busy. In reality, I didn't want to deal with whatever it is that I wanted to deal with. And slowing down, sitting in silence allowed me to really muddle through whatever it is that I was going. And if you are a man watching this, maybe start with that. Maybe start with just silence, like a minute or two, just sitting still and seeing what it is that comes up. Points that I wanted to make about why men use work as a distraction from not dealing with their emotional and mental well being. So, what does this mean for men and for us as a society, and for those who want to support men in their mental well being and their mental health journey? So, what happens for the cost if if we don't acknowledge this, or if you're a man watching this and you're still using work as a way to distract yourself from dealing with whatever it is that you're dealing with. So what are the costs? What are the costs? Like, what are the repercussions if this does not get addressed? And so there's emotional burnout. Like, I think, men, people are at all-time emotional burnout, but men, I'm sure there's a lot of emotional burnout for all of you. um there's a disconnected to your relationships. Remember at the beginning when I said that often men don't come to see me as a therapist until somebody tells them, a boss or someone higher up than them, or their spouse or their significant others, like, get help or else. um get out, like, get help, go do something, because our relationship is so disconnected right now, and if it's continue, then there's going to be other outcomes, and do you want to have that outcome? So they're like, okay, I'm going to come to therapy, I'm going to try to do whatever it is. And so there's a disconnected and disconnection in the relationships. I also see a lot of unexplored identity, and what I mean is I think a lot of men, especially here in the West, have been taught that you have to be a certain way. To be a man means this. To be a man means that. And so they don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. They don't know what's important to them. They don't know what they don't like. They don't know what they like. They don't know who they are as a human because they've been told that you have to have this identity to be masculine. So there's a lot of unexplored identity that they're struggling with. Another thing is, of course, we talk about this. This is the whole point of this episode is suppressing their mental health issues. And as a therapist, I've worked with some of the hardest cases ever. I've worked with people who've lost close family members through dying by suicide. And I know that's a hard word. And I just want to say that when we continue to suppress our mental health issues, we can only suppress it for so long until something happens. And when it happens, it's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's going to happen in a very, very crisis way, in a very crisis way where crisis is involved, and um, it can mean like crisis intervention. So I hope that it never gets to that point and get help before it becomes a crisis. What we don't see is how our mental health impacts our physical health decline. If you're not doing mentally well, you're not going to do physically well too. Unfortunately, it's going to manifest into physical illness also. Like maybe those sharp pains or, those chest pains that you think that you're having a heart attack is actually a panic attack. Or the stomach pain that you have is because you're not resting, or your blood pressure is high. It's because of all of this. And so when you suppress your mental health, your physical health is going to express itself. So, what can we do though? What can we do to help men and mental well being and to really change the narrative? Is we need to start normalizing emotional intelligence in boys and men. I think this is something that we are really seeing right now, especially in our young men, where in schools and we're noticing how boys are behind is we need to start teaching about empathy and emotions and normalizing emotional intelligence in boys and men, because if we don't, we're seeing this. They're being left behind. And when you don't learn how to adapt with the times, you will be left behind. And when you're left behind, you're usually angry, you're bitter. And when you're angry and bitter, unfortunately, there are lots of outcomes when somebody is angry and bitter, especially in this society. We also need to create non judgmental spaces for men to open up, where men feel comfortable sharing whatever it is that they're going through with other men that are not going to feel ostracized or judged or shame, and be open about those struggles and allow other men to if needed or wanted, give feedback. It doesn't have to be advice giving. It can just be like, when I was in your situation, this worked for me, not that you have to do it, but maybe try this. So, not advice giving, but just really listen. And I would say solution focus, like be solution focused. Another thing we all, society, everybody else, we need to do is we need to redefine what masculinity means. That masculinity does not always mean go, 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 do, burn out, and burn yourself out. We need to redefine and say, you know what? It's okay to rest. It's okay to rest. It's okay to have empathy. It is okay to have self awareness. It is okay to have other emotions besides anger. Men don't avoid. Men don't avoid healing because they don't want it. They avoid it because they were never taught how to sit with it. And more often than times, work is a distraction, but it's not the cure. True healing happens when men feel safe enough to feel and are supported enough to stop running. So, that is all I have for today's episode. And if this episode resonated with you, please share in the comments. And if you like this episode, please hit the like and subscribe button. So I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. I enjoyed it today. And if this is an episode that you like for me to continue on, please put down in the comment section. But otherwise, I hope you all are having a wonderful day and take care of yourselves, rest, and do what it is that you need to do to rest and basically make yourself feel better. All right. So take care, everybody.